On my wedding day, my best friend's mother spread a rumor that I had been kept by a sugar daddy during college and had an abortion. When I first heard about it, I considered reporting her to the authorities. But everyone around me urged me to focus on the wedding and not to waste energy on such malicious gossip. However, someone at the same table as the gossip monger was live streaming, and the rumor spread like wildfire. My mother-in-law believed the story and pressured my husband into divorcing me. A complaint was filed with my workplace and I was fired. My parents, too ashamed to show their faces in the village, cut ties with me. Crushed by one blow after another, I fell into a deep depression and, in my despair, jumped off a building to end my life. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on my wedding day. Chapter 1. Wait a minute. I interrupted the makeup artist, lowering my head to grab my phone. It didn't take long to find the live stream, and once I clicked in, I saw several middle-aged women chatting animatedly. What kind of business does the groom's family run? The wedding's so extravagant. I heard they're in the hotel business and own several properties. It's all thanks to Viola. She's beautiful and knows how to charm men. The sound from my phone caught the attention of a few bridesmaids. One of them leaned over, saw the screen, and exclaimed, "Gloria, it's your mom." Gloria hurried over, and her mother, Laura Smith, was still speaking. Actually, Gloria's prettier than Viola, but she doesn't have Viola's seductive charm. Viola's chest is so large because men are responsible for that. She's been seducing men since she was a child. She even had relationships in elementary school. In college, she was kept by a sugar daddy and had several abortions. Oh, what a sin! At this, Gloria's face turned ashen. She stammered, "Viola, don't listen to my mom. I'll go stop her right now." Before Gloria could leave, I suddenly stood up and walked straight toward Laura's table. Gloria reached out to stop me. "Viola, don't go. It's your wedding day. Let me handle this. I'll make sure my mom stops talking." The friends behind me also urged, "Yes, Viola, just endure it a bit longer. You know how my mom is. Let me take care of it. After today, I'll make sure she apologizes. Don't let her ruin your big day." Gloria looked genuinely concerned, as though she was thinking of my feelings. In my previous life, I hadn't found out about this through the live stream. It was a relative who, unable to bear it, came to tell me. Back then, I had swallowed my anger, hoping it would blow over. But the next day, before Gloria Wells could bring her mom to apologize, the rumors had already spread like wildfire. Because of those lies, I lost my husband, my parents, and my job. Eventually, I was driven to despair. And through it all, Laura never once came forward to clarify the truth. This time, I wouldn't let it slide. After all, I knew the difference between a wedding and a life. I ignored Gloria's pleas and walked quickly toward Laura's table. When I arrived, she was still gossiping about my supposed abortions. She was in college then. How could she let her parents know? She borrowed money from my Gloria. Gloria, being so loyal, even stole money from me to help her. That's when I found out. The guy's mom knew me too, and I confirmed it with her. Her son did get Viola pregnant. Miss Smith, is that really true? Mom! What nonsense are you spouting? Gloria and I spoke simultaneously, which startled Laura. She turned around, saw me, and awkwardly smiled before pretending nothing was wrong. "Viola, why are you out here already?" I stared at her, shocked. "Miss Smith, is that true? Did I really have an abortion in college? Did you actually see it?" Chapter 2. What was supposed to be a small, private matter now drew the attention of everyone in the room, thanks to my loud voice. Laura instantly became flustered, and Gloria, feeling embarrassed, tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, apologize." Laura stood up and said, "Viola, I'm sorry. You know how I talk without thinking." I widened my eyes in disbelief. "So you're saying it's true?" Before Laura could respond, my parents and my husband arrived. "Viola, what's going on?" My mom took my arm. Let's talk this out. Mom, Miss Smith said I messed around with men in college, got pregnant, and had an abortion. I looked horrified. I have no memory of this. That man must have done something to me. My mom's face instantly darkened. She turned to Laura. Laura, what do you mean by this? Are you spreading rumors on my daughter's wedding day? Laura forced a smile. I misspoke. I've already apologized to Viola. My mom tried to calm me. Viola, your Miss Smith just loves to gossip. She's apologized. Let it go. My dad also chimed in from behind. Yes, look at you. Everyone's here. No one will believe such nonsense. Not only my parents, but everyone else tried to smooth things over. Seeing this, I began to cry. No, no, no. Miss Smith sounded so convincing. How could it be false? I don't remember any of this. It must have been done against my will. That man committed a crime. Miss Smith, tell me who he is. I'll report him to the police. Upon hearing I wanted to involve the police, Laura, who had been laughing it off, immediately stopped smiling. She quickly said, There's no such person. Just consider it my imagination. Viola, today is your wedding day. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. Please take my apology with tea instead of wine. Just consider it a rumor. Laura raised a cup of tea and gulped it down in one go. After drinking, she looked at me. Is that okay? I stared at her, clearly dissatisfied with her gesture. Laura sensed my displeasure. She thought she had shown enough respect as an elder, but I still wasn't satisfied. She then announced she was leaving, saying she had already ruined the mood. I grabbed her arm. No, Miss Smith, you can't leave like this. Laura looked at me helplessly. I've apologized. What more do you want from me? Do you want me to kneel and beg for forgiveness? I frowned. Everyone heard what you said. Since you claim it was a lie, you need to clarify it. Go up on stage and tell everyone you made it up, that you like to gossip, and that everything you said was your imagination. Laura's face darkened. She thought it was humiliating enough to apologize in front of everyone, and now I was forcing her to speak on stage. She immediately grew displeased. Viola, I've already apologized. Do you really think I was lying? Learn to forgive and forget. I tightened my grip on her hand. So you're saying it's true? Then tell me who the man is, or I'll sue you for defamation. Laura, now truly provoked, snapped. The man's name is Nick Jones. You were with him while he was married. Don't you remember? I froze for a moment. At the same time, Gloria's face turned from pale to red. Chapter 3. Laura didn't seem to notice her daughter's discomfort. When she saw the expression on my face, she couldn't help but smile smugly. So you remember now, don't you? I hadn't said a word yet. Gloria stepped forward, pulling her mother away. Mom, you've crossed the line. Today is Viola's wedding. She's my friend. How are we going to face each other after this? Laura shouted. What are you afraid of? I've already given this girl some face. She's the one making a scene. A friend like that isn't worth keeping. Laura didn't understand. Gloria wasn't worried about our friendship being ruined. What she was truly afraid of was the truth coming to light. In my past life, I had wondered how Laura could remember every detail of such lies. Listening to her now, and seeing Gloria's reaction, a bold realization struck me. When she mentioned that man's name, I became almost certain. Someone had indeed been involved in an affair and had an abortion back in college, but it wasn't me. It was her daughter, Gloria Wells. I had seen Gloria get into Nick's car several times at the university gates. I knew they'd been involved for some time, but I didn't know that Nick was married. There was also that time when Gloria seemed unusually weak. When I asked her what was wrong, she casually dismissed it as just her period. At the time, I didn't understand how something as simple as a period could cause so much pain. Now, with everything falling into place, I couldn't help but feel a sense of revelation. As Laura and Gloria were about to leave the hall, I stopped Laura once more. "You can't leave. You need to testify." I insisted that I had no recollection of such an event and didn't remember any interaction with Nick. If she remembered everything so clearly, she should be the one to go to the police and recount what happened. If she refused, it meant she was lying. Laura thought I was just pretending to be ignorant to cover up my actions. She didn't leave and instead shouted at me. "Even if you don't believe it, it's the truth. Nick is here today for his engagement. I'll call him over and you'll see. It won't end well for you." I stood firm. "Bring him over if you dare." Her provocation worked. Laura shook off Gloria's hand and made a quick phone call. Nick was indeed there for his engagement. Within minutes, Nick's mother arrived. As soon as she entered, Laura grabbed her hand. "Didn't your son get a college girl pregnant during his first marriage? Is this the girl?" I thought Nick's mother would deny it, especially in such a public setting. After all, it wasn't something to be proud of. But to my surprise, she proudly responded, "That was years ago. Who remembers? A girl chased after my son." At first, I thought it was a joke, but then she realized where we were and laughed awkwardly, covering her mouth. "Why did you call me here to talk about this?" Laura smiled at me, clearly victorious. "Viola, you heard that. Let's leave it at that. It's your wedding after all. I'll spare you the details." She and Nick's mother then began gossiping about Nick's second marriage. They were talking about how Nick's fiancée was the daughter of his boss and how highly regarded Nick was. I asked, "This lady only mentioned a girl. How do you know it was me?" Everyone in the room had turned their attention to us. The MC had urged us several times to get started. My parents, embarrassed, tried to pull me away. "Viola, this isn't the place. Can't we discuss this later?" I shook my head violently. "No, I want to clear this up now. Otherwise, my reputation will be ruined." My dad, now furious, scolded me. "They've already given you face. Didn't you hear? Let it go. Do you still want to get married?" I looked up and saw my fiancé and Miss White's faces as dark as storm clouds. Their eyes were filled with nothing but disdain for me. Miss White sneered. "This is the daughter-in-law you chose for me. I always knew she was a sly fox, but you didn't listen." My fiancé walked over, clearly upset. "Viola, is any of this true? If it is, we can't get married." Miss White added, "How disgraceful. She did all those things and still made a scene." Hearing their words, I felt more wronged than ever. My parents were more concerned with their public image and wanted the wedding to proceed. My fiancé, on the other hand, thought I was embarrassing him. The three people closest to me didn't stand up for me when I was being slandered. They wanted me to just endure it. Even though I had experienced this all in my past life, my heart still ached uncontrollably. No one stood up for me, so I had no choice but to stand up for myself. I said firmly, "Even if we don't get married, I need to clear this up. Fine, it's not our embarrassment." Laura laughed dismissively. My mom rushed over, quickly stuffing a red envelope into her hand. "Laura, please, don't be angry with a child." Laura snorted. "For old time's sake, I'll let it go. Everyone, just pretend I was joking." With that, they began to leave. I tried to stop them, but my parents held me tightly. Just as I was struggling to break free, 2 police officers entered and blocked Laura and her companions. "Excuse me, we've received a report about someone who was assaulted while unconscious. Who is the victim here?" Chapter 4. Me! It's me! I finally broke free from my parents' grasp, rushing to the police officers with my hand raised. "Officer, I think I was assaulted while unconscious and forced into having an abortion. I don't remember any of it, but these 2 women can testify on my behalf." I pointed to Laura and Nick's mother. Laura stood there stunned. Viola Taylor, are you serious? Do you really want the whole world to know about this? I cried, my voice trembling. I have no choice. I need justice. Miss Smith, please, you have to tell them what you know. You have to testify for me. Turning to Nick's mother, I added, Officer, this is the suspect's mother. She can testify too. At my words, Nick's mother exploded in fury. What do you mean, suspect? You're shameless. What happened between you and my son was mutual, not a crime. I sobbed, barely able to hold myself together. Mutual? I don't remember anything. I had no choice. My memory's a blank. He must have drugged me. Officer, please, you have to help me. The police officers, caught between our shouting and accusations, looked exhausted, their heads spinning. They decided to separate us and questioned us individually. First, they spoke to me. I insisted that I had been drugged, assaulted, and possibly taken to an underground clinic for the abortion. But I had no memory of it, and I kept saying that the two women were my witnesses. I asked the police to investigate thoroughly. Laura was about to speak when Gloria, visibly nervous, stepped in front of her. Officer, this is all a misunderstanding. My mom has been spreading lies. None of this is true. She said quickly, then turned to me. Viola, I'm sorry for everything. My mom won't apologize, but I'll apologize on her behalf. I shook my head, my voice breaking. I don't want an apology. I just want her to testify. I need the truth to come out. From the side, Laura spat out bitterly. Gloria, why are you apologizing to her? She's a thankless woman. Even if I testify, she's still a kept woman. She's lying to everyone. Nick's mother joined in angrily. Exactly. What assault? She was kept by my son. Now she's denying it, but it's fine. I paid for their hotel rooms and arranged the abortion. It's all documented. We have proof. I cried harder. That's even better. Those are all pieces of evidence. With no other choice, the police brought in Nick. Thankfully, he was nearby and arrived in less than 3 minutes. Nick looked completely bewildered, followed by his fiancée and her parents. I had heard that Nick's fiancée's father was his boss, and that's probably why he'd taken an immediate interest in him. As soon as Nick walked in, Gloria tried to slip away. But Laura grabbed her arm, stopping her. Gloria, I know you don't want to be involved, but you need to see what's really going on here. You need to know who you're dealing with. The officer stepped forward. Nick, someone has reported that you drugged and assaulted them 4 years ago. Your mother claims it was a consensual relationship. Please cooperate with our investigation. Nick immediately denied it to his fiancée, shaking his head. No, that's not true. I didn't do it. The police officer, skeptical, didn't let up. Are you sure? Your mother has evidence, and there are hotel records with your ID. We can pull the surveillance footage to confirm everything. Nick seemed rattled, but he took a deep breath and walked toward Gloria, his face full of anger and confusion. What's going on here? I gave you money to settle things. Didn't we agree to just move on? Are you trying to get back at me? Chapter 5. The room fell silent. A few seconds later, I heard someone in the crowd gasp. What a twist. So it was Gloria who was kept. Why did her mom say it was Viola? Gloria lied. She said such nasty things, but it was her daughter. Gloria bit her lip, almost burying her face in the ground. Laura was stunned, taking a while to react. Nick, what are you doing? You've got the wrong person. It was Viola. Nick looked up at her. Who's Viola? Under police questioning, Nick admitted to his past with Gloria. They met because Laura often visited Nick's mother. At the time, Nick's first wife was pregnant, and Nick, feeling bored, chatted with Gloria. Gloria borrowed money from him. Nick joked that he'd give her $100 for sleeping with him, and Gloria agreed. Nick looked helpless. It was all agreed upon. I slept with her less than 4 times before I found out she was with other men. I felt disgusted and stopped seeing her. Later, she said she was pregnant and demanded money for an abortion. I was afraid she'd tell my wife, so I took her to a clinic. Hearing this, Laura was furious. She slapped Gloria. "You're so cheap. You sold yourself for $100? Gloria, trembling, couldn't hold back. "It's because you didn't give me any money. I had no choice." Laura often bragged about Gloria being sensible, good at school, and beautiful, not taking money from home and sometimes even giving money to the family. As Gloria's best friend, I knew how much she lacked money over the years. Laura controlled her spending, but Gloria loved luxury goods. She started borrowing from friends, then from online lenders. One day, she suddenly didn't need money anymore. I thought Laura had a change of heart. Now I knew Gloria had sold herself. Knowing the truth, Laura broke down, hitting Gloria. "You disgraceful girl, you've shamed us." After exhausting herself on Gloria, she turned to Nick. "You dog, how dare you bully my daughter? This is rape. I'll sue you." Nick, also angry, had just seen his fiancée and her parents leave with dark faces after his confession. If not for the police stopping him, he would have chased after them. He shouted, "Your daughter sold herself. Who could stop her?" Laura went mad. "You seduced her. She's so sensible. How could she do this? You lured an innocent girl." Nick's mother, seeing her son being hit, was heartbroken. She pushed Laura away. "Why are you hitting my son?" Laura cursed. "You raised a menace. You're no good either." Nick's mother fought back fiercely. "You're good. You chased after men when you were young. Your daughter must have inherited it. She can't live without men." Laura, enraged, started pulling hair. The two women wrestled, and it took a while for the police to separate them. Because it involved a transaction, the police detained Gloria and Nick. But my case was the main focus. The police asked if I still wanted to press charges against Nick. Everyone thought I should stop there. But I nodded. Yes, he hasn't proven he didn't assault me. He only admitted to being with Gloria. That doesn't clear him of my case. Chapter 6. Nick, hearing my logic, was exasperated. He said to me, "I don't even know you. How could we have any relationship?" I insisted the police investigate. "Are you sure you have nothing to do with me? Your mother said there are witnesses who can prove I had an abortion." With no other choice, Nick's mother had to call the clinic. The clinic director brought out records from the past few years. The police checked them thoroughly and confirmed there was no record of me. However, they did find multiple records of Gloria having abortions. Not just one, but 5 in a single year. Fearing I would continue to pursue the matter, Nick's mother went on stage and bowed to apologize, saying she had mistaken the person. Her son had been involved with Gloria, not Viola. Nick also stated he didn't know me, having only seen me twice in college. He thought I was pretty but always saw me studying in the library, so he kept his distance. After their clarifications, I turned to Laura, holding up the live stream recording. "I recorded everything you said today. These are all lies. I will sue you for defamation." As soon as I finished speaking, the audience erupted in applause. Everyone stood up, seemingly celebrating my victory. I raised my head and addressed the crowd. Earlier, the groom said if these rumors were true, he wouldn't marry me. Now that they've been proven false, I don't want to marry him. We've been together for 6 years, and he should know me well. Yet, he didn't believe me. I don't need a husband like that. I looked at Jack White and Miss White, their faces ashen. Jack hurried over, his smile stiff. "Viola, don't be like this. The misunderstanding is cleared up. Let's continue with the wedding." I sneered. "Didn't you hear your mother call me a sly fox? We've known each other for so long. You should know what kind of person I am." Yet you didn't defend me. Let's get divorced." I was about to tell everyone to enjoy the food and drinks as the wedding was cancelled. My parents approached. "Viola, have you lost your mind?" My dad's voice was stern. "Look at what you've done today. It was a small matter." "She said it, so what? You should have endured it. Today is your wedding. You called the police and now want a divorce. You're embarrassing us." My face burned with shame. But my heart hurt even more. In my previous life, when everyone was cursing me, my dad called. I thought he would comfort me, but he scolded me instead. He said there's no smoke without fire. If I hadn't done anything, why would people talk about me? When I sought my family's protection after the divorce, my dad kicked me out. He said I had shamed the family and disowned me. Now, even after clearing my name, he thought I was overreacting. I looked at him coldly and asked, "Dad, am I not your biological daughter? If someone slandered their daughter, wouldn't they at least argue back? You heard how she insulted me, but you're blaming me. Is it because you have something with her? You're talking nonsense." My dad, furious, slapped me. My mom, agitated, said, "Viola, how can you slander your father? He has nothing to do with Laura." I calmly replied, "Dad, she just said it. Why are you angry? Just endure it." My dad, trembling with rage, pointed at me. "Viola Taylor, I disown you." "Great." I tore off my veil and smiled at the crowd. "Please witness this. My parents are disowning me. I will repay them for raising me and will not support them in the future." With that, I walked away. In this life, I still divorced and cut ties with my parents. But surprisingly, no one criticized me. The wedding live stream continued, and my handling of the rumors went viral online. Everyone praised my courage and condemned my parents and ex-husband for not standing by me. "She's so strong. That's exactly how it should be handled. I don't understand why her parents acted like that. If it were my parents, they would have slapped those women. That old lady is something else. She accused someone else of being a prostitute, but it was her own daughter. This is like a plot twist in a novel." The incident also reached my workplace. I feared it would affect my job, but my boss asked if I wanted to work abroad for a few years, promising a promotion upon my return. I gladly accepted. After cutting ties with my parents, they were heavily criticized. They called me daily, asking me to restore their reputation. But I had no such power. Moving abroad would also help me avoid them. However, I had one more thing to do before leaving. Chapter 7. I sued Laura. After Gloria and Nick were detained, the police found evidence of their transactional relationship. Both were held in custody. When Nick was released, his fiancée had left him and he lost his job. His promising future was ruined. His mother, furious, demanded compensation from Laura, blaming her for exposing the affair. Laura, of course, refused. They argued daily in the hallway. But Laura couldn't match Nick's mother's ferocity and eventually stopped answering the door. Nick's mother then started broadcasting Gloria's story in the neighborhood. She sat on a small stool, live streaming, and talked about Gloria's multiple abortions and her willingness to do anything for money. She even brought up Laura's past, making increasingly outrageous claims. Laura, enraged, called the police. But her reputation was already ruined. Gloria, too ashamed to leave the house, locked herself in her room, crying daily. The stress eventually broke her. One morning, Gloria ran naked through the neighborhood, throwing herself at any man she saw. People realized the once good girl Gloria had gone mad. Laura sent her to a mental hospital. Rumors then spread about Laura withholding money from Gloria, forcing her into her situation. Unable to bear the gossip, Laura moved away. But I found her through a lawsuit. I demanded she record a video apology to be posted online for at least a month and compensate me for emotional distress. Laura, seething with hatred, said, "Viola Taylor, haven't you done enough? If not for you, I wouldn't be in this mess. I should be asking you for compensation." I rolled my eyes. What mess? Are you talking about the rumors of you seducing men and driving your daughter insane? Don't blame me. Those aren't my words. Sue whoever spread them. Laura, cold-faced, said. You started this. If you hadn't insisted on calling the police, no one would know about Gloria. I shrugged. Blame your loose tongue. Gloria's downfall is your fault. If you want compensation, ask your mouth. Despite her arguments in court, Laura's defamation was undeniable. She reluctantly recorded the video but delayed paying the compensation. But money wasn't my main goal. After resolving this, I began packing. Unexpectedly, Jack came back, asking for reconciliation. He said that after our divorce, no one wanted to date him. The few who did were obvious gold diggers. I laughed. What's wrong with gold diggers? Didn't your mom think I was one? Jack blushed. Viola, let's put this behind us. Now that we know you're innocent, let's move on. I never doubted you. It was them. You never doubted me, but you never defended me either. Because of my looks, many people had slandered me. But every time, people told me to laugh it off, even my closest boyfriend. Because the knife wasn't in their flesh, they didn't feel the pain. Now, everyone criticized his family for not protecting me and my parents for not loving me. They panicked and wanted to repent. But it was too late. Jack, I gave up on you the moment you didn't stand up for me. I've cut ties with my parents. Why would I keep you? I kicked Jack out and warned him I'd call the police if he returned. In my second year abroad, I received a call from a woman thanking me. Confused, she explained. Laura hadn't changed and slandered another bride at a wedding. But this time, both families beat her up. Laura was left paralyzed, with no one to care for her since Gloria was institutionalized. The bride's family had to compensate her, but the incident went viral. Once people realized Laura was involved, they remembered my story. So the bride didn't need to explain. Everyone knew it was false. She thanked me, saying my actions made it easier for her. This wasn't the first thank you call. Many women found courage to fight slander because of me. I hoped everyone could escape the trap of self-defense when facing rumors. Later, I found someone to love for life. He respected and believed in me. Most importantly, he stood by me in crucial moments. The end.